Nice to see some of you from last Friday. See some new faces too. That's super awesome. Can everybody give me a quick thumbs up? You can hear me okay? Yes? Okay, awesome, awesome. So today you have joined me to talk about some weaving. And so what I wanted to do first was show you, if you're familiar with weaving in kind of a more traditional sense, I'm going to hold up my whole big loom situation that I have here at home. We're not doing this. This is a lot of work and a lot of putting things together. And I actually, if you can tell, the last time I touched this loom was at least a decade ago. So we're not going to do this. What we're going to be doing is a lot simpler, okay, and is also something that connects to the different kinds of people, groups that you've been hearing about over the last couple of, well, at this point, week and a half. Okay, that's a traditional Indigenous native technique for weaving. Okay. To get into that real quick, I did want to show you on this loom, hopefully you can see if I get close enough to the camera. The idea with the loom is that you have these rods that help you move the strings back and forth, right? So that you have a different set of strings when I pull this forward than if I let it go. Okay, and I realize you probably can't see that super well on the camera, but what we're going to be doing, instead of having this whole big setup like on a loom, we're going to be doing that with our own fingers, is moving the strings back and forth. Okay, it's not quite like braiding, it's a little bit like braiding, but we're going to move from one side to the other. Okay, so materials wise, folks who joined us a little bit earlier know that we are looking for a few different things here, not as many as last time I was on, but we are looking for a hanger. We're looking for some yarn. And if you haven't already started cutting them, we're going to look for 6 to 8 pieces of yarn that are about as long as you can hold your arms out to your sides. Okay, and obviously to do that, you're going to need some scissors. Okay, so I'm going to give you a moment to do that. And while you do that, I'm going to also show you a couple of things that I made years and years ago at this point, okay, to give you an idea of the kinds of things that you can do with this finger weaving thing. So this was probably one of the first things that I ever made, okay, finger weaving. This is, I think, 16 strands of yarn. We're not going to do that many. And then we're definitely not going to do as many as my Ravenclaw scarf, which I made around the time, I think, Harry Potter 5 was coming out. Because this one, Miss Josie got a little bonkers. This is 70 strands. We're not going to do that today. We're going to make this really simple. We're going to do it with 6 or 8 pieces of that yarn. Okay? How are we doing? We got some cutting going? Yeah? Okay, cool. So, since we don't have a ton of time, I'm going to show you how we're going to get this set up. We'll work kind of slowly together so that we can kind of be on the same page. And I'm going to flip my camera back around so you can see my workspace. Okay, so there's my hanger. And what I'm going to do with this hanger is it's going to help us maintain the tension on this yarn. So as we weave, we can keep it kind of tight. Okay, and so I'm going to take this first piece of yarn right here. Okay. Now look for about the halfway point. Look for about the halfway point on that piece of yarn, and I'm going to lay that halfway point over the bottom part of the hanger where my finger is. Okay. Then I'm going to take the part that's hanging up towards the top and loop it around that piece once. Okay, so that you can kind of see, hopefully, that's looped at the bottom down there. And then this top part up here, I'm actually going to wind it around the hook to help us keep that tension and keep it out of the way. Okay, so can you see up top, I've got it wrapped around. I've got it looped once down here. Okay. And then I'm going to take my next piece of yarn. And this is where things start to get a little bit tricky, is you want to try to remember, we're going to keep that same loop pattern. So, middle of my yarn, I'm going to lay it over that bottom bar right there. Take this top piece, it's going to go behind it and loop it around. and then wrap up here at the top. Okay. How are we doing? Making sense? So this is going to take about as long as it takes us each to get this yarn set up right here. I'm going to get that wrapped around. I think maybe I will just do 6 pieces to get us going. Go for my nice springy colors here. Okay. Go for that middle point again. Laying it over. Looping it around that bottom bar. Wrapping it up at the top. How many inches long are the pieces of string? Well, I was having folks just do kind of a basic self-measurement, so about as long as your arms can reach, under the hypothesis that y'all are probably looking at a 4-foot wingspan. Mine I pre-cut personally to 3 yards. 3 yards, 3 feet. I can totally do the yards to feet measurement lately. It's really fun. But really, if you're thinking about making a belt, it's, you know, your waist measurement plus a bit to hang over. So this is going to be my 5th piece of string here. Okay. And in the past, I made a belt. I've also made, I think I lost it, but I had a thing for a water bottle, a strap that I was carrying a water bottle around on. And then this is going to be my 6th piece of yarn right here. Finding the middle, more or less. Hanging it over. Wrapping it around. Going like that. Okay. How are we doing? Good? Getting there? Cool. Okay, this is the part where I need to figure out my camera angle exactly. But what you should have is you're going to have these 6 pieces of string hanging off your camera, hanging off your hanger. They should all kind of be going the same way, and then you've got them wrapped around the top for tension. Okay, here's the tricky part. So like I said, this isn't exactly like braiding, okay? What we're thinking about here is that over-under pattern that you might have seen on the strings on my loom. Okay, and so I'm gonna see if there's any way I can get this any closer to my fingers. I don't know if there is, okay? But I'm gonna do one round and then I'm gonna try to show you what I'm doing on possibly the other camera, okay? So if you are just about ready, what we're gonna do to make this weaving happen with just our fingers is we're gonna take this left-hand string, for me it's the white one, okay? And going across all the way down here at the bottom of my screen. Oh, wait, maybe I can make that a little bit easier. Well, maybe not. Okay, I'm going to pick up that pink string and put the white underneath. And then I'm going to put it over the next string, which is my red one. It's going to go under this light purple, over the dark purple, and then under the black thread. Okay, so that it's over, under, over, under, over, under. Okay, and so then this white one out here becomes my last piece of yarn on the right-hand side. Okay, then I'm going to do that again. And this time when I look at my thread, when I look at my yarn, hopefully I'll get closer and you can see this. You can see now I've pushed, whoops, try not to knock over my whole camera. Okay, if you can see now, this white piece has actually pushed up some of the yarn and pushed down some of the other yarn. Okay, so what's going to happen is with each time you move across, you're going to be switching the positions of that yarn. Okay, so this one was down, so now I'm going to make it go up by putting the pink one over. Okay. This is it. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to make that go up. I'm going to push this one down. I'm going to push this up. I'm going to push this one down. Okay, and I realize this is a little bit hard for us to see. Okay, there are some really great resources I can show you on. I can provide a link to April, okay, to show people how this one works, because this is a little bit of a trickier camera setup to do. Yes, absolutely, Claire. Okay, so now I have over here, I've made those first two pieces of yarn come all the way over to the right. Oops, this one needs to go all the way over to the right because this is the last one that I used. Okay. This red one, let's see if I can stand this up and you can see it any better. Nope, maybe not. Okay. This red one is going to go under the thread, over, under. Let's to go a different direction. Over. This is where things get a little complicated and confusing for sure. Okay, under. Okay, so that you're looking to see every time you go across, you're going to be moving 3 threads up and 3 threads down. Okay. Oh, I'm trying to see if there's a better place I can put the hanger so you can see this a little bit more closely. So again, we're going to push this one up. We're going to push this one down. Push this one up. Push this one down. Push this one up. Okay, and you can see kind of up top, this is kind of loose, but that's okay. As things go along and you keep getting further and further down, it'll tighten up as you go. Right? And then when it tightens up along the way on the bottom, eventually what actually has to happen is you have to do this whole other side up at the top too. Okay? And when you come back and do this side, you can end up tightening that whole thing. Okay, so is this making sense? I know this one's a little bit trickier to do than the paper beads, but I figured we'd give it a shot. And like I said, I can throw some resources out there. I actually saw this really great GIF of someone doing this and a whole resource on how people do this. Okay. So you can see with this one, when we're doing this with our fingers, we're just moving one strand, one thread from left to right. So people making complicated designs can do this a lot of different ways, like with a traditional loom, where you can move halfway across your pattern and then come back from the right. We're not going to go anywhere that complicated today. We're just going to go left to right, where we're changing the positions of our yarn. Okay. Now, I know I gave you a lot of yarn to work with, and so this is definitely not a project that we're going to finish in the next 5 minutes even. But it's something, you know, to work on. It's a little bit like macrame without the knots. It's a little bit like braiding, except you're coming from one side. And definitely something that people who are making straps and belts and all this kind of good stuff are going to take a long time to work on and be patient with, because this is something that if you want to do a nice design, you're going to want to think about how you do it and take some time. Okay. So I'm going to work on a couple more rows here, and then if you have any questions, Miss April, if you could help grab folks if there are any questions, that would be super awesome.
Sure thing. And I'm actually looking to see if I can post in the chat box any helpful GIFs or videos, looking as we.
Yeah, that's great. You can still see mine is still pretty loose. Okay. One way to help you keep the tension might be to hang the hanger on something, like a doorknob or in your closet or something like that, where you can kind of keep that hanger in one place or have someone help you hold it, okay, to make that a little bit easier. Whoops, can you unmute us? Yes.
Will not mute us.
Let me just go with one. If I can find you, Sarah, I will unmute you. I lost track of you. I lost track of that person. Sorry, April. I think Madison has a question. Yeah, Madison?
Can you, I was a little bit late. Can you tell us how to weave a little bit?
Yeah.
I'm a little bit late.
No worries. Can you kind of see my fingers on the screen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what you're doing is you're basically alternating which threads go up and which threads go down, right? So if you can see, right now what I have is you can see 3 threads coming up really easily. So this dark pink, this sort of lighter one, and the black. Okay. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that pink thread all the way over on the left-hand side. It's going to pick up the one that was underneath, go over the one that was kind of sticking up, under the one that was underneath, over and under. Does that kind of help?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay. April, you're muted.
So anyway, thank you. And does anybody else have a question, comment, connection? I'm still working on, I think I found a very good link that I'm going to put in the chat box that might give you more information on this, and maybe it even is showing kind of diagrams of what Ms. Josie's talking about the
Awesome.
over under.
That's perfect. Thanks, April.
No problem. I want to make sure I send the right one. I can see a lot of friends working at this. It's not easy, but you guys are doing it.
Yep, for sure.
Hold it up to the camera if you want to show your progress. It's okay if you don't as well. Oh yeah, I see some.
Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Very cool.
And so the resource that I found, I didn't realize this, Ms. Josie, but there are lots of kinds of weaves, a diagonal weave, a chevron weave, and this is really cool instructions on how you would do all of those different designs. And then it's all connecting to connecting this technology to the Native American experience. I'm not exactly able to tell from this link which tribes that they are talking about, but I have a feeling that it's a general technology that was used and still used across many tribes.
Cool, that's perfect. And I will do a really quick look in one place that I know I saw this. And if I can find it really quickly, I will throw it in our chat as well. But yeah, this is definitely something that people have used when you didn't have a big giant loom to work on, that if you had, oh, perfect. There's also this kind of loom called a backstrap loom, where people would sit and you would have a loom attached to a tree, right? Yeah, basically lots of different ways that people are thinking about how do you create things from just string. Awesome. Well, it looks like folks are working pretty hard on that one, so that's awesome. Okay, and then yeah, that brings us just about to time, and I